It's time to find some more winning waiver wire moves. This week, that includes 2 more hot prospects at pitcher who are off to great starts, and 3 new closers that can help you pick up saves. But let's get to the hitters first. I'm actually going to pick up right where I left off last week, and if you stuck around till the very end of last week's waiver wire video, then you know that I mentioned Joey Votto, who had just come back off his season-long, to that point, stint on the IL. Had not played, and in his first game back, he mashed a home run. Well, guess what? So far, he's got 3 home runs and 7 RBIs and is hitting .308 in less than a week's worth of games. I think it's safe to say he's back and you should pick him up. I mean, we want to be skeptical because of the age, because of all the injuries, and because he just really wasn't good last year. But let's throw that all out the window. The man is going to be a Hall of Famer. The Reds are right now the hottest team in baseball, and he is looking like his old self. So enjoy the ride while it lasts. Pick him up while you can. All right, the rest of the way, we're going to be a lot younger at hitter. So start with a guy who just got called up. He's been playing for less than a week as well, but this is his first big league action. It's Henry Davis, who is a catcher technically in Pittsburgh. This is a guy who has a massive power ceiling. He grades out at 70 raw power, so you know he can hit the ball. But what's funny is, like I said, he is a catcher by trade, but so far in 4 games, Pittsburgh hasn't played catcher once. They put him in right field, they put him at DH. He may not really be behind the plate too much, but you don't care because you can put him at catcher in your league. I always say this, it's such a thin position, which you know if you play fantasy baseball. And so somebody who has legit power and will be in the lineup pretty much every day, but without that wear and tear, you've got to be interested. So if you're in any sort of keeper dynasty league, yeah, now's the time to definitely jump on Davis. But even in a redraft league, if you've been, kind of streaming at catcher, or you're not really happy with whoever you've got, whatever the case may be, this is someone to definitely take a look at. Now here's another Pirates prospect, but I'm going to put a word of warning here before I talk about Nick Gonzalez. This is sort of like a retweet does not equal endorsement thing. Like, I'm mentioning it that you could pick him up. I'm not saying that you should pick him up, and I'll tell you why. So Gonzalez a couple years ago was their first round pick, taken 7th overall, high-end prospect, looking like a guy who would be their future second baseman for years. Well, he's got the call. He's got a chance now to be their current second baseman, but he's got to actually earn it. He's got to hit because, you know what, although he has the pedigree, this is someone he really has not jumped off the page. If you look at his stats in the minors, he's got the power and the speed in terms of tools and potential, but so far this year in AAA, only 6 home runs. Last year, AA, only 7 home runs. What's really concerning is that the batting average is fine, 257, 263, but the strikeouts, and that's never a good sign for a young player, 28% each of the last 2 seasons, and maybe not coincidentally, his first major league game went 0 for 3 and struck out twice. If this is going to continue and he just can't catch up to major league pitching, he's going to get sent down in a hurry. So I would say right now a speculative ad only if you can afford to stash somebody like him, if it's a keeper league where he might pay off. I mean, the upside is there, but let's see if it follows through. But don't be disappointed if you see him struggle initially. So I'm mentioning this. I'm not saying he's somebody you should add, but at least monitor. And if you got some roster space, take a shot. No such concerns with Royce Lewis. I'm mentioning him again because I don't understand why he's not owned higher than 38% right now across most platforms. I mean, this guy who used the former number 1 overall pick, but besides that, he's actually hitting well now. He has, like I talked about with Gonzalez, that power, that speed in terms of athleticism. He's only not performed because he's been injured so much. And sure, he could always get injured again, but that's not the worst case scenario here because then you can stash him on IL or you can drop him. But he is hitting now and he's come around. In the past 5 days, 8 hits and 20 at-bats. That includes 2 home runs and a stolen base. That batting average is getting up there. Again, this guy can help you in every category and he can start every day at third base for the Twins. So he's going to get eligibility at third base and shortstop for you. I really don't understand why he's not rostered in more leagues, but if he's still floating out there, pick him up, please. And then a very similar profile statistically, although this is a guy that nobody really had heard much of until this year, also slots in at third base and shortstop, gets you some speed, power not quite so much, but look, Michael Garcia for Kansas City is performing. His batting average is up to 288 now, and he got promoted to the leadoff spot, and that is always good news for fantasy. He's somebody who just on the 22nd of June had a 3-steal game. He's got 5 steals in the last week alone. So obviously helping you in that all-important category, which although it's easier to find steals these days, this year, it's still, one of those categories that you can't just find everywhere. So Garcia definitely warrants a pickup, can help you with average, it looks like, definitely with speed, and again, being at the top of that Royals lineup, although it's not that great these days, still, that is good news for his potential to score runs. So you're looking for help in the speed category, I'm going to go for Garcia. Before I get to those pitchers, let me remind you that if you want to play DFS in a way that's actually unique, fun, interesting, gives you a good chance to win, forget swimming with the sharks, try Rival Fantasy. You can do quick challenges, pick head-to-head matchups, or you can try Fantasy Bingo. I did a whole rundown on how it works on this channel. Go to joinrival.com/endgamemlb and you'll be able to sign up right now. Get a deposit match of up to $200 plus a free play voucher. Now's a great time to join. So again, joinrival.com/endgamemlb. All right, let's get to those young pitchers now. We'll start with another Dodger prospect. I mean, how many guys do they have in their farm system who just come up like that and look like they could be future aces? Right now, it's Emmett Sheehan, who has 2 Major League starts under his belt. Both times, he went 6 innings. First time, it literally could not have gone better. He blanked the Giants, who, remember, had been one of the hottest teams in the majors. No runs and no hits over 6 innings. And then he did it almost again, went 6 innings, and held the Astros to 2 runs and 3 hits. This guy is 6'5". He throws 96 miles an hour. Now, he is more just a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider. His profile really looks more a little bit like a closer or a late inning guy, but right now he's in the rotation. So far, so good. And again, with all these injuries the Dodgers have, he's going to have a chance to stick, especially if he keeps pitching like this. Just FYI, his next scheduled start is in Coors Field, so obviously not the best spot for him. Let's see how he does there, and if he's successful enough, I'd say go full throttle, put in that FABID if he's still out there after this week, and take him. And then in Seattle, who's also had their share of young pitchers coming up lately, well, they have a guy named Bryan Woo. Now, a little bit different here. His very first start was as bad as you can get, pretty much. Allowed 6 runs in 2 innings. But since then, he's been steadily better. 2 runs, no runs, and he's stretched out a little bit farther in games. Like Sheehan, if you look at it, this guy's just all fastball and slider, almost predominantly fastball. I do worry that long term, he's not going to be a guy who does stick in the rotation. But for now, he's looking pretty good, and I like the fact that he's striking out a lot of batters, 25 Ks in 17 innings. That'll help you. So far, his whip is actually pretty good, even including that terrible start. It's at 119, and so for now, somebody you could be interested in. Now, if you need help in the bullpen, especially with saves, let's go back to Kendall Graveman. Unfortunately, Liam Hendricks on the IL with an elbow injury, so the fact he had that long layoff, concerning to say the least, but doesn't seem like it'll be serious. For now, it is Graveman's job again. He has 6 saves on the season. Bad timing, maybe to mention this, because just tonight he did blow a save. It's one of those things where he gave up the lead and then wound up getting the win because they took it in extra innings. But anyways, his ERA is only up to 270. He's been really solid all season long. He's getting you saves. He's not going to hurt you in your ratios usually. So Graveman looks like a pretty safe pickup. And then it looks like we know who the closer is for now. In Colorado, it's going to be Justin Lawrence, a veteran. His X stats are excellent this year, 92nd percentile in terms of expected batting average, 97th for X slug. His barrel rate, super low, so the ratios are looking nice. He's picked up a couple saves already, 3 on the season. It looks like it's his job for now. He's going to do what Pierce Johnson couldn't do. Now, the only thing is he's not going to strike out as many batters, a 24% K rate right now, which jives exactly with his career 24% K rate. But hey, if he can keep his ERA below 3 as it is now, 1.11 whip, and get you some saves, you can't complain about that. And then if you watch my cut list video from last week, I talked about Giovanni Gallegos in St. Louis. It's time to get rid of him because he's not getting saves. It's Jordan Hicks. That's right, while Ryan Helsley is on the IL, it looks like Jordan Hicks come back full circle and getting that job at least temporarily. Speaking of bad timing, the Cardinals are over there in London playing the Cubs, and Hicks is not along for the ride because he's got an illness. It looks like there's a flu situation or something like that. It's not an injury, so don't worry about that. He should be back pretty soon, and I do think he'll be the late inning guy because we saw him 3 straight days. He picked up a save, and Gallegos was there watching. We know the story with Hicks. He's got an amazing arm. He can go over 100. He was going over 100 before everyone else was doing it a couple years ago, and he just has had trouble staying on the mound. So if he can do that, it looks like this guy might pick up a bunch of saves over the next couple of weeks. And if you didn't catch my cut list video where I talk about the guys that it's just time to ditch, stop waiting for it, well, check it out right now.